Hola, ¿qué pasa? This is And I Am Been Around the World. It's another beautiful day here in Playa del Carmen, Mexico. Sitting on my patio here in my beautiful apartment, a little less than 1 mile from the beach. And today I'm going to be talking to you about the cost of living here in Playa del Carmen. More specifically, I'm going to be going over my monthly cost of living budget report for the month of January. And this covers everything for myself and my girlfriend. So this is the cost of living for 2 people. Now this is just to give you a general idea of the cost of living. There's plenty of ways you can spend less, there's ways that you can spend more. This is just to give you an idea. So first up, what's really important, you're going to need a place to live. So my rent, my accommodation budget, we spent $475 this month. We have a really nice apartment, a few blocks from the beach. And like I said, $475 was our rent. That covers high-speed internet and water. However, the electric bill and the gas bill are both separate. And that leads us to our next category, utilities. For the utilities this month, we spent $25. Like I said, electric is separate. That's only paid every other month, and we didn't have to pay it this month for January. So we'll get to that next month. This month we did have to pay our gas bill. Now we have a gas tank behind our house that supplies gas to heat it for our water, our shower, and also our stove. Every once in a while when our gas tank runs dry, we have to call a guy who comes out here and replaces it. And we had to take care of that in the month of January, and that cost us $20, but we also gave the guy a $5 tip, so a total of $25. And now that that's full again, we probably won't have to worry about that for a couple of months. So for the month of January, we spent a total of $25 for our utilities. So total for rent and utilities was $500, which is pretty reasonable. Eating out, we spent $285 for the month of January, my girlfriend and I. We do cook a lot at home. More specifically, my girlfriend likes to cook a lot at home, but we do eat out a lot. Playa del Carmen might as well be the city of food. It's everywhere. I've never been anywhere where there's so much amazing food everywhere. There's street food, which I'm a big fan of, not just because it's cheap, because it's delicious. If you ever come to Playa del Carmen, Mexico, eat the street tacos, some of the best tacos you'll ever have. There's a lot of restaurants, small local diners, cafes, and then in the tourist strip, 5th Avenue, there's a lot of upscale restaurants and fine dining, and the food is everywhere. Now, my girlfriend and I are pretty economical when it comes to eating out. Like I said, we are a fan of the street food, street tacos, but we do also like to go out to the nicer restaurants every once in a while. Every week we make a visit to this really nice sushi restaurant that we're both fans of, and we spend considerably more than we do when we just go to the corner taco space. So $285 eating out for the month of January for the 2 of us is pretty reasonable. Next up, we have groceries and shopping for things for the house. Other than groceries, we buy things, like toiletries. We also bought, what did we buy? A pizza pan. Like I said, my girlfriend's been getting more into cooking and she wanted to make a pizza. She did a fantastic job. Big fan of it. Way to go, babe. So for groceries and shopping for the house, we spent $193.50. Again, pretty reasonable. Next up, we have, next category is phone. Now, I know back in the United States, phone carriers, phone services could get quite expensive. Here in Playa del Carmen, Mexico, Telcel is the main provider for cell service, and my girlfriend and I spent $10 each for the month of January. $10 each to re-up our data plans on the SIM cards that we have in our cell phones, and that took care of all of our communication needs. $20 total was our communication cell phone expenditure for the month of January. Next up, we have laundry. Our apartment does not have its own washer and dryer, which is pretty common here. I've lived in at least 5 different Airbnbs and apartments here in Playa del Carmen, traveling around, and none of them had to have their own washer and dryer. That's usually just the way it is. No need to fear though, because laundries or lavanderias are everywhere, all over the place. Especially if you're staying in the central area, and if you're a visitor, tourist, more than likely you're going to be staying in the central area. They are everywhere. A lot of the places even come to your house, pick up, and will deliver your clothes. But there's so many of them all over the place. It's really convenient to find the nearest one, walk your dirty clothes there, they wash, dry, fold, seal your clothes, and you can pick it up most of the time the very next day. So our laundry budget for the month of January, we spent $35. And next up, our next category is entertainment. Now, a lot of the things I like to do for fun, a lot of the things I like to do for entertainment are not just cheap, but free. I'm a huge fan of the beach. I was born and raised in Buffalo, New York, where it's cold and snowy 6 months out of the year. So now that I'm living less than a mile from the beach and the water's always warm, I'm at the beach as often as I can, swimming in the ocean. It doesn't cost you a dime. Other than going to the beach, we also do go to the movies every once in a while. We do have a movie theater at the mall, a quick bus ride or cab ride away. And we saw a couple movies this month. We saw the new Spider-Man, which was excellent. We now saw the new Kingsman movie, which was pretty good. And unlike back in the States where it was like $11 a movie ticket, it's super cheap here, about $3.50 a ticket. So going to the movies a couple times, going out for drinks every once in a while, we only spent $56 on our entertainment budget for the month of January. Really, really cheap. Transportation. Our transportation expenditures for the month of January were very, very minimum. We live in the central area of Playa del Carmen, and that's where all the good stuff is. So most of the time we just walk everywhere. It's good exercise and everything's super close. There are cabs that take you about, I don't think we took any cabs in the month of January, it just wasn't necessary, but even those are really cheap, around $2.50 a ride. On the occasion when I said we did go to the movie theater, we would take the bus or the collectivo, that's like 50 cents a person. Besides that, we did take an ADO bus to a small town about 2 hours away, 2.5 hours away, the Felipe Rio Puerto, to visit my girlfriend's parents, but even that was super cheap. Transportation is very cheap here in this area, and we spent only $19 for the entire month of January, so that was more than reasonable. Besides all of those key categories, I also bought a pair of sneakers in the month of January. It cost me about $22. Sneakers, I didn't know which category to throw that in, so I just tacked that on to the end. So $22 for a new pair of sneakers, and I'm a big fan of them, so no regrets. So that is all the money that my girlfriend and we spent for the month of January. Just a quick rehash. For rent, we spent $475. Utilities, we spent a total of $25. Eating out, $285. Groceries and shopping for the house, $193.50. Phone bills for our phone service, $20 total. Laundry, $35. Entertainment, $56. Transportation, $19, and $22 for a new pair of sneakers. All total, that brings us to $1,130.50. So we actually did really good. Normally, my girlfriend and we shoot for about $1,200 a month. That's our monthly budget. We think that's pretty reasonable. We're not super poor, but we don't have a lot of money. So we do try to be economical in most of our cost of living expenditures. $1,200, pretty reasonable general idea what you can spend for 2 people living in Playa del Carmen. Now, there's a lot of ways that you can spend a lot less. There's a lot of ways you can spend a lot more, especially in categories like rent. We spend $475 a month, which is really reasonable. But while we were looking for apartments in the central area, we even looked at a small studio apartment that was $300 a month, and even included high-speed internet. It was a small space, and we wanted a little bit more, especially for the 2 of us. So we did find somewhere else that cost more, but that's fine. That was within our budget. That's just to give you an idea. You can find cheap studio apartments here in Playa del Carmen. But you can also spend a lot more. I met somebody who has a nice, sweet luxury condo right on the beach, and they spend more on rent every month than I do for everything. So, Playa del Carmen is it's a tourist city, and it accommodates all budgets. There's a lot of things that are very reasonable, a lot of cheap, but if you want to spend a lot of money, if you have the money, you can. Eating out is another thing. Like I said, there's a lot of cheap eats, a lot of street food, a lot of small diners that cost very minimum. But if you go to Fifth Avenue, the main tourist strip, you'll find a lot of more upscale restaurants and fine dining where you can spend a lot of money. Entertainment, I said a lot of things I like to do, like hanging out on the beach, is cheap, free even. Having a couple drinks at, a little dive bar doesn't cost you much. But you go to Fifth Avenue, there's tons of entertainment venues where you can spend a lot of money if you can and want to. So it's up to you. $1,200 is our monthly budget. You could live for less, you could live for a lot more. So I do hope that you found this video informative. Every month I will be posting a video about our monthly cost of living, but I expect that it'll be in and around the same amount. Sometimes a little bit more, sometimes a little less. Please like the video, please subscribe to my channel. If you have any questions, comments, or critiques, you can leave them in the comments down below. Stay tuned, I'll be putting out a lot more videos out here living in Playa del Carmen and other places around the world. I hope to see you next time. Adios.